caravan is coming up from Central America. It's heading rapidly towards our border. It's a lot of people. Some of them are apparently pretty keyed up and pretty violent and probably pretty strong. Certainly a lot stronger than I am. Well, they're going to soon be, the Mexicans are trying their best, I think, to hold them back and maintain some kind of order, but it's a tall order. And so the question is, when they reach the border of the U.S., what do we do? What do we do about it? Mr. Trump said the other day that this next election will be about the caravan. And what about the caravan?
Well, it reminds me of one of the reasons I'm a little testy with our commander-in-chief. He may not have realized why the chant of his campaign became build the wall, but those of us who were chanting it, this is why we wanted a wall, so that we're not constantly dealing in what are you going to do this time and what are you going to do this time. It's like what Trump, or rather Bush, said about the terrorists. They only have to be right, we have to be right every time. That's why a permanent, impermeable border is what we wanted there, and Trump hasn't done it, which I'm very upset with him about. So, I mean, what should be done? Yeah, I guess his best option is what he's doing, to put pressure on the many, many countries the alleged refugees are walking through to get to the gigantic welfare state, proving they are not refugees, by the way, or seeking asylum. If you just, oh, I have to get out of this circumstance, I'm going to die, I'm going to die. Well, you just, pass thousands of miles. There are a dozen countries closer to you, but I happen to notice that America does have the most generous welfare policies, and you know we're going to get in. But to get the other countries to stop them first is the best option, because if he stops them at the border, well, then we're going to be a little, yes, it's good, he needs to stop them, it would be a total disaster for the midterm elections if he doesn't. Disaster? Because it will, for midterm elections, as you know, they're blue wave, it ought to be a blue wave, by rights it should be a blue wave. What has Trump done to keep his base excited? Tax cut? Half the country doesn't pay taxes. That isn't what got in the industrial Midwest. That isn't what people were chanting. I'm not against tax cuts, love tax cuts, but that isn't what people were chanting at those 30,000 person rallies, and probably because half the country doesn't pay taxes. I mean, it's great to get the economy going again, like it. The one thing, and it's really kind of pathetic, that sort of has energized the conservative base has been the crazy attack on Judge Kavanaugh, the claims of attempted rape from these various women. But is that what the Republican strategy was? Let's just hope a Supreme Court nominee resigns and the left goes mad? That isn't a strategy. This just fell in your lap. So it makes me angry at Mitch McConnell all over again. But other than Kavanaugh and I suppose the caravan, if Trump stops it, there isn't a lot to excite the Trump base.
But I want to ask, let me back up. You said he has not built a wall, and clearly he has not built a wall. If he had built a wall, we've seen it. Why has he not built a wall?
I am not, I mean, this is his own fault. He surrounded himself with people who do not agree with the MAGA agenda. He seems to have hired a lot of never-Trumpers for the White House. And as I predicted in my columns during the transition, if you surround yourself with people like that, they're going to come running to you and say, oh, this can't be done. Oh, we have to worry. There's going to be a lawsuit. We can't do it. We can't do it. He's the commander-in-chief. He has full authority to build a wall. He doesn't need Congress. But why does he not know that he's commander-in-chief? I mean, there are a lot of things he does. I feel like he needs to be, I loved his campaign, I loved his promises, but I think someone needs to tap him on the shoulder once a day and say, hey, you're president.
But he's going to get sued up and down every part of his body if he does that. There's going to be court orders saying you can't do it. So then what's he going to do?
Well, if he had started building it on the first day he took the White House, those court orders would have been dispensed with well by now. But an awful lot of the border is ranchers' property. Nobody has a right to sue if a rancher says, yep, build the wall right there. I know them, I've met them. Their ranches are being overrun. They'd love to have the wall built there. So you can start with that as the lawsuits proceed, and when it gets to the Supreme Court, And, oh, sorry, this is one angle. When it gets to the Supreme Court, I'm confident that the Supreme Court will read the Constitution and see, oh my gosh, the president's the commander-in-chief. Yes, he does have the right to do this. In fact, it's his first responsibility. The second thing he can do, I kept hearing about this great negotiator. How about putting a little, if he thinks he needs funding from Congress, how about putting a little pressure on them? No tax cut until you give me money for the wall.
Well, how about if he says, can he call out the National Guard?
Well, that's what he's talking about doing now, putting the military on the border. I don't think it's a really great solution. I mean, what are they going to do? Shoot the illegals? It's better than nothing, but I mean, having them there. But that's why we wanted a wall.
Will we ever get the wall?
I hope so. I'm doing everything I can to annoy him until he builds the wall.
Okay, what is going to be the situation about illegal immigration generally? Because the wall is a big part of